Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Horse Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
We've got all of the numbers now, week by week, from Samba about how Ahsoka performed.
Okay.
So we're going to quickly go through the weeks we've already gone through and kind of see how the show leveled up in comparison to other things. Episodes 1 and 2 put Ahsoka at number 1.
And this is for overall or just new streaming or...
This is just for top streaming programs.
Like period for everything?
Period.
Wow, okay.
Yes, it includes streaming-only programs, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, not your local TV stuff.
Correct.
Yeah, or cable stuff.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Episodes 1 and 2 put Ahsoka at number 1. Moving into episode 3, Ahsoka dropped to number 3. Was outperformed by Who's Aaron Carter and You're Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. One Piece was sitting around number 5. Then we move on to when episode 4 of Ahsoka dropped to 4. It was like, it knew.
It was progressing, yes.
That's where One Piece moved up, Little Mermaid came out, and something called Virgin River came out on Netflix.
Yeah,
Netflix usually does really good on these charts.
This was the episode where Anakin was at the very end of the episode. And it was a really good episode, too. Probably like the best episode overall, I'd say, just in terms of like pacing and action. I thought, it didn't have the great cameo of Anakin until the end, but I think it was just kind of the best episode overall.
Then we move into episode 5 week, which we thought was going to do better, but it sat at the number 3 spot.
Yeah, this was the big Anakin episode.
This was the showcase episode. They put this one out in the movie theaters.
Yeah,
which
that's
could
right.
have also influenced the numbers a little bit.
Yeah, I don't
tiny
think so.
bit. And it's also
still
the week
went back
Elemental
up.
hit Disney Plus, so
Yeah.
every time something hits Disney Plus that first week, it's like, boom.
Sure. So those are two newer shows, or movie and a show. So, if they're not there, then Ahsoka's number 1. Though you can't play that game because there's always just that's the nature of streaming, right?
All right.
Always new stuff.
Moving into the week, episode 6 came out. Ahsoka jumped up to number 2.
Wow, only behind Elemental.
Only behind Elemental. One Piece is still hanging out at number 7, and it's been out for a few weeks.
It crossed the Virgin River.
You're so funny.
I don't want to know what that means either.
No, I don't really want to know what that means
Hey,
either.
that's the episode where they find Ezra, isn't it? Wink.
All right. Episode 7. Ahsoka's holds at number 2, only behind Reptile.
Oh.
I don't know what that is either.
I don't know what that is either.
I don't watch that. All right, and then moving on to the finale of Ahsoka Season 1, it held at number 2.
Okay, behind the reptile.
It did stay behind
Whatever
the
reptile is, yeah.
Whatever reptile is, it stayed behind there.
So in all reality, it fared pretty well, according to Samba.
According to Samba, comparing it to other things that were also streaming only, I think it performed pretty well.
No, it looks pretty well.
I like that Netflix, though, most weeks dominates.
Yes.
They've upped their game, they do really well, and they are just dominating.
Well, they had the big foothold to begin with, too.
They really do.
Yeah, they had a head start against pretty much everything else.
Right.
Not pretty much, they did. They were the first.
And we talked about just in a recent video how they upped their game. They kind of hit the wall and realized what they were doing wasn't working and started creating content that worked.
It feels like they're realizing that you can't slack off.
Well, and I think they got smarter with the fact that for some of their bigger releases, like Stranger Things and The Witcher, they saved the end episodes for like a month later so that they couldn't be spoiled online and didn't turn people off, so they came back to the show.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Yeah, actually, I'm fine with the week-to-week thing.
I like week-to-week much better.
I don't need it all dropping at once, to be honest with you.
But Netflix, if you're not going to drop it all at once, please continue doing what you're doing and drop the other 2 episodes a little bit later so that the rest of us have a chance to get there before everyone is there.
Yeah, because you do have, as we've talked about before, the people who just will sit down and watch it all in one day and then will make it their absolute pleasure to take to Twitter or YouTube and put spoilers wherever they can. Yeah.
All right, but Samba overall says that 863K U.S. households watched the final episode of Ahsoka on Disney Plus over the first 6 days.
I mean, that sounds...
This is just U.S. households. And
yeah, it's, you need comparison numbers, but that sounds pretty good.
Well, like I
it's
said,
a lot of households.
As many shows are out there, as many streaming services are out there, the competition has gotten much more fierce.
Yeah. Well, as we talked about the other day, you would think that would mean Disney would try to up their game with these shows, but we feel like they haven't necessarily done that.
No. Hopefully they watch our video and get a clue.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure the top execs at Disney will gather around for news from Naboo every day.
Yes,
that's how they kick
hey
off
guys,
their day.
news from Naboo's coming on.
Yeah, it's almost time.
It's almost that time.
Yep, be 11:30 Eastern for him to drop there. But no, I would say that it seems pretty promising for him.
Right.
You know,
it does.
We talk about season 2, or is it going to happen? Well,
I hope it happens. The way they left it off, if they can actually follow season 2, following Ahsoka, staying on this new planet, this new galaxy. If we follow Ahsoka and we stay there and fold that story, I'll be really happy. If you try to overload it by constantly showing us what Thrawn is doing...
I don't think you do that, yeah.
I think that you show us what Thrawn's doing in a different show.
I 100% agree. I think if there is a season 2 of Ahsoka, it should be about Ahsoka, whatever's going on with this planet and Balin, and whatever's going on in the galaxy overall, perhaps. I don't know.
Right.
But that's you got to focus.
I think Thrawn should be focused in either give him his own
season
show,
4, or
Mando
the Thrawn
season
show.
4, or
Rangers of the New Republic resurrected.
Rangers of the New Republic, because they could easily be like, we're trying to spy on Thrawn.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we know, or they will know, because Ezra will tell them that Thrawn is back. So it's not like he's just gonna, hey everybody, he's not gonna do like Palpatine in Fortnite.
That Thrawn is back.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If he's back, Thrawn.
Well, unless they're like, well, it's just Ezra. Maybe he's lying.
Ezra's like, where do you think I got this armor?
Yeah.
Where do you think I got that Imperial shuttle?
Well, you could have got that anywhere,
Mr.
Bridger.
Yeah.
But no, I hope that we separate those two out and we find a good place to focus on Thrawn and to focus on Ahsoka individually, more or less.
Moving on, there's another article I found today that I thought would be fun to talk about. We finally know why Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber battles were so disappointing.
What does that mean? What was disappointing about Kenobi's battles?
The dark. You know how dark and hard they were to see?
Oh,
you remember?
Kenobi's... I thought...
No.
Obi-Wan
Kenobi,
I thought you meant
show.
Obi-Wan, like, did you see Revenge of the Sith? What the hell are we talking about?
No, the entire problem was the volume.
Oh?
Right. We all just were like, well, obviously the volume is part of the problem. It made everything look small, but the reason that those shots were so dark and why we had so much trouble seeing was because of the volume. This isn't a problem they would have run into in Mando. Why? Because, well, they don't have a lot of lightsaber action going on.
Yeah. Not often, anyway. Only when certain Jedi show up at the end to save your butt.
But in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, they kept wanting him to pull out his lightsaber and do his battles with Vader in the dark.
Yeah, it was not
at nighttime.
Good.
So we have learned that the volume was the problem because the lighting problems could not be fixed because of a pre-planned virtual background, and the editing couldn't fix it either because digital cameras affected the blue lightsaber glow and brightness in post-production.
So are you saying it doesn't, like the back of the LED screen itself kind of would reflect it or just wouldn't make it look right? Is that what you're saying here, or is that what they're saying?
It's kind of, yes, what they're saying. Because of the fact that those virtual backgrounds are already baked into the picture, so in editing, they couldn't... The digital cameras with the glow of the lightsaber plus the glow of the LED screens made it impossible to fix the lighting problem.
I've got an idea.
Because the shadows and everything wouldn't work anymore.
I got a crazy idea.
Oh, here it comes.
Build a set.
Well, think about it. The lighting can't be fixed because they've already got on this pre-planned back screen exactly how the lighting is going to look. So if they try and fix the brightness of the saber, they can't.
Yeah.
It's already baked in.
I still got a crazy idea. Build a set. This is your, this should have been, your featured show. This should have been, this is Obi-Wan freaking Kenobi. Mm-hmm. Go all in. I'm so thrilled that they went all in on Andor and spent the money and went practically and on location and did a lot of really great things with that show. Yeah. But you should have done that with Kenobi, too. You shouldn't have just banked on the rematch of the century, which was a little too dark.
A little?
And had other problems as well.
I think we were squinting at it going, I think that I see something moving in the darkness.
But how do you... yes, I think the volume, it's incredible technology. I think certain times it works really well. But if you're having problems with it, and this is your premiere, this is what you were basically selling the show on, build a set. Do something. Because it was just dark. It just didn't...
Right.
And the glows were just off to it. The glows were just almost too much.
They were not working.
Yeah, speaking of Revenge of the Sith, or go back and watch that fight. It's not like the lightsabers are lighting up the whole planet. Now, granted, you're on a lava planet, but you know what I mean. So that explains that, I guess.
Right. This is, like I said, this is the first time they've done the dark screen with the lightsabers. It's great that the actors can see the backgrounds instead of running out in front of the blue or the green screen, but
Well, why did they make it so dark? Couldn't they have made it lighter or something where you didn't need so much glow, essentially?
We do kind of have an explanation from a Star Wars cinematographer, Eric Steelberg. Steelberg, not Spielberg. While he was speaking to the Direct, he said, and that is the trickiest thing, trying to create something virtually with a lighting system that matches because you have to lock in. You have to make the decision about what you want it to look like months and months before you actually get to shoot it. So you're making decisions that you gotta get stuck with. Not stuck, but you make decisions that you have to live with later on and you can't change. So if I had a sudden last-minute inspiration of how I wanted to change the lighting in a virtual background, I was very limited to or not able to do that. So they literally could not go back and fix it because the background was already baked into the scene. Whereas if you were using a green screen, the background can be easily changed because it was never recorded with the product. So yeah, you can't fix that. Nope.
Couldn't they have just done the whole LED screen green and then gone and done it in post? I mean, for that if they thought they were having problems with it,
they didn't know ahead of time because they did all the shooting and then months and months later when they're in post trying to work on it, they're like, oh crap.
So they made it darker in post, is what you're saying?
No, in post they tried to fix it. They tried to brighten the images, but they can't because the scene's already dark.
No, but
they can't change the lighting, is what they said. Sorry.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, then you initially made it dark. I'm kind of confused. I just don't know why.
I think initially
you would think you would record it
and
look at it and see. I don't know. I'm not an expert in this field by any stretch, but it seems like this should have been something you fixed some way somehow.
I wish they could have, but they couldn't. They originally decided that the background was going to look too dark. It was going to look dark. But then when they looked at it in post, after the shooting, months later, they go, oh, well, that's too dark, and there's nothing they can do to light it at this point. Because trying to lighten that would also, of course, lighten the actors, because it's a full one shot now. Because of the digital cameras. There's no layering.
You would think they
unlike
could do
with green screen or blue screen, where those would be two separate layers they could mess with.
Sure, but you know what I'm saying. Come on, there's got to be some kind of technology to...
Well, they wasn't working.
Haven't there been videos on YouTube where they lightened it?
Well, apparently they're spending more time on it than But they did fix a lot of these problems going into the Ahsoka series. I mean, if you look at them side by side, they managed to get a handle on what they were doing. Even though Ahsoka also heavily relied on the volume, it didn't face the same lighting issues. It could be because they were more careful about the environments and the time of day in which they were using the lightsabers.
Well, sure.
We didn't really get any lightsabers at night in Ahsoka.
Kinda. We did.
We had in the forest, and it was darker. But it wasn't dark. It was never dark.
No, but it was pretty dark.
Not as dark as they tried to go in Kenobi. They seem to have decided to, if they just kind of adjust the time of day, move it to a lighter area, it looks fine. So hopefully when they continue forward with lightsabers in the future, keep working on it, because it looks, like I said, it does look better in Ahsoka than it did in Kenobi by a long shot. It's sad that Kenobi suffered so much because they did not understand what was going to happen.
It wasn't the only place Kenobi suffered.
No.
All right, well, that is all we got for you this time. So now it's your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of any and all of today's news. And let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.